Good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, Larry Brantley. Today is March 26th. It's our 8th episode. We've had dozens of guests, hundreds of stories, numerous Hope Davos sightings, viewer videos, total chaos, cats and dogs living together. Okay, you guys ripped that right off of Ghostbusters. Come on. We can do better. Not to worry. You're in the right place where the world makes sense and you are right at home. Why? Because it's your world and this is your show. Your business, your stories. This is UCaaS Connection. Now, people often ask me, Larry, how do you guys produce such a complex, professional live show every week with absolutely zero mistakes? Well, there's really nothing to it. The thing is, okay, so that's not quite true. Actually, a whole team of people work all week to produce this show. We share a collective trust and respect for the various skills that each person brings to bear. It's all about collaboration, and that is exactly what we'll talk about today with two of the best in the business. Marco Sanchez and John Romeo with TBI are here to tell us about collaboration architecture and its relationship to business continuity. They'll be joined briefly by Aqeel Shahid from Vonage to tell us about a big win they partnered on. And then Aqeel will stay with us for an in-depth look at the power of AI to create a valuable customer communication experience. But before we get to our guests, let's check in with Nancy Seco, who has some big news to share. What's shaking, Nancy?
Thank you, Larry. I'm glad to see you're okay. BroadVoice, an award-winning provider of hosted voice, unified communications, and SIP trunking services for business, proudly announced the additions of Kim McLaughlin, Senior VP of Marketing, and Rebecca Rosen, VP of Marketing, to CRN's list of esteemed Women of the Channel for 2020. Honorees are selected by the CRN editorial team to celebrate exceptional women, acclaimed for their contributions to channel advocacy, growth, thought leadership, and dedication to the IT channel. McLaughlin joined BroadVoice in 2019 with the mission to align the company's sales organization to support its accelerated channel growth. In a short time, she's added several strategic leaders, channel managers, and resources with the goal of enabling partners to move upmarket with BroadVoice services. This is Rosen's third appearance on the CRN Women of the Channel list. At BroadVoice, she drives marketing strategy, including channel marketing, product marketing, demand generation, content marketing, and inside sales. Rosen is a former board member of the Alliance of Channel Women and served as the organization's vice president for 2 years. She was also named a Channel Partners Circle of Excellence Award winner for channel leadership. The 2020 Women of the Channel list will be featured in CRN Magazine on June 8th and online at crn.com/WOTC. So until then, way to go, ladies. CNSG and AppSmart announced the launch of Business Cloud Help Desk as an affordable end-to-end help desk solution specifically designed for the SMB market. As a result, customers gain an IT help desk on demand for all manner of support items, including VoIP setup, email snafus, and even end-user computer support. This new solution has been a huge hit for AppSmart as companies move to a decentralized IT and work-from-home structure. Contact CNSG or AppSmart for more details. Big Leaf Home Office, previously featured on UCaaS Connection, is now available in 1,000 over 100 megabits per second and 150 over 20 megabits per second. These new service packages give business apps the VIP treatment, helping remote workers to stay focused and productive. Organizations using Big Leaf Home Office can support even more of their team's home offices. Reach out to the team at bigleaf.com to learn more, see a demo, or just get started. Now, stay out of trouble, Larry. They say lightning never strikes the same place twice, but these are strange times. Larry.
Yes, indeed, and thank you, Nancy. I've definitely learned my lesson. Now, given the state of business these days, the only thing that may be more important than collaboration is business continuity. Now, we're going to discuss both with TBI's Marco Sanchez, Senior Director of Channel Sales, and their CCaaS and UCaaS specialist, John Romeo. Gentlemen, welcome to UCaaS Connection.
Welcome.
Okay, Marco, let's start with you. What are you seeing currently in the marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, you'd almost say, what aren't we seeing in the marketplace, right? I mean, when it comes to UCaaS and collaboration, contact center, I mean, we're seeing a lot of growth in that areas because a lot of, companies, especially in the wake of everything that's happening in the world right now, had to go to remote workforce and work from home pretty rapidly. So, some of the things that might have been getting kicked over, beforehand have definitely moved up in the way of, what was important for the organization. But it's also more than, just UCaaS and contact center. We're seeing a lot of, interest and growth in areas such as business continuity, disaster recovery from a cloud and infrastructure standpoint, moving workloads into a co-location, as well as some cybersecurity as well, right? Because once we move it out of our four walls, now we got to secure it while it's also still maintaining performance, right? So there's still a lot of, conversations around SD-WAN, network services, cybersecurity, as well as they shift those workloads. And frankly, I don't think it's going to change. The marketplace is going to continue to ramp those services up because you're seeing studies out there right now that are saying 35% of the workforce is going to continue to stay at home and not go back to the office. So these are solutions that are going to continue to be at the forefront of what partners can have conversations around their end users with.
Thank you, Marco. John, this one's for you. What do you see partners doing and asking that stands out to you?
Definitely, as Marco mentioned, COVID-19 has accelerated the pace to enable the remote workforce. And quite frankly, the desire for this partner knowledge on how to take advantage of these opportunities where a lot of their peers are making 5 to 6x of traditional telecom sales. So we're actually seeing a lot of business continuity planning in the works right now, a lot of on-prem systems being moved to the cloud in a matter of days versus weeks or months. I'm part of the team that's helping with partners and customers from everything from discovery, design, planning, and close. And the unique thing about our team is the engineers on our team have no less than 20 years experience with all sorts of disciplines. UCaaS, CCaaS, which is myself. We have individuals that do colo, DRaaS, network, and security. And we really see it as a game changer and advantage to open the door to these new opportunities.
Well, let's stay with you, John. That's all good information. I want to know, what are customers finding most important as it pertains to UCaaS and CCaaS?
Yeah, so I think right now our customers are looking for ways to rapidly move to the cloud and shield themselves from future disasters, not only from natural disasters such as hurricanes, earthquakes, or physical attacks, but pandemics such as the one we're in now. Businesses have quickly discovered that the only true way to protect themselves from future disasters is to have a plan and business continuity strategies that will allow these businesses worldwide to have anytime communications anywhere and always on.
Well, that's a perfect segue. Let's talk about business continuity right there. So what does Marco, this one's for you. What does the future hold for the channel and tech industry?
Yeah, well, what we're seeing today and really continuing in the future are IT leaders and CIOs, enforcing these business continuity strategies, right? Even for businesses returning to the office. From a master agency and a TBI perspective, we've seen some of these companies' budgets rapidly shift from internal infrastructure to the remote workforce on these solutions. And this is where these are ripe opportunities for our partners.
For anyone who isn't already aware, tell them how TBI can be helpful in this regard.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. So number one, starting with our operational department, right? We help out, be an extension of your organization from a project management implementation outside of just all the various vendors and solutions that we have, whether it's cloud, collaboration, cybersecurity, and next generation networking, and IoT, 5G, and next gen mobility for that matter. So we have an entire team that can help project management implement, so you don't have to invest more on your payroll or strip away from the resources that you have. Number two, our marketing resources. We have a lot of customized content and collateral that can help with drip email campaigns and content getting out to your end users or prospects on all the different technologies that we're talking about today, whether it's on a specific technology from an agnostic standpoint or with a specific vendor like Vonage, for example. And number three, our tech gurus team, all right, our solution architect engineers, whatever you want to call them. John Romeo is just one of a few that can jump on a call with your customers and help you scope and design solutions around compute, contact center, UCaaS, and security, as well as next generation networking.
Thanks for that, Marco. Now, before we let you guys go, we do want to bring on our next guest, Aqeel Shahid. Aqeel, welcome to UCaaS Connection.
Appreciate it.
Now, Marco and John, we might be putting you on the spot here, but last week, Aqeel told us how excited he was that you guys were going to be our guest this week, because it turns out you all worked together on a big win pretty recently, and we love to celebrate the big wins. So, Aqeel, please tell us about the opportunity and the team at TBI.
Absolutely, and we really appreciate our relationship with TBI. TBI has been a great partner, strategic partner of Vonage. There was an opportunity that we recently won, that I want to highlight because it really leverages the full stack that Vonage offers, right? Unified communications and contact center solutions, right? So this was an opportunity that was about 7 months in the works. But really what set us apart in the space was this integration that we provided within Salesforce to be able to provide a unique experience for the end users, to be able to provide them a single pane of glass, and working closely with the Salesforce team to really, understand what the requirements were, to understand exactly what the future state was. And it was a great win all around because it really leveraged, not only our unified communication solutions, but also our contact center solution. And then obviously working closely with the TBI team helped a lot.
Thanks for that story. Marco and John, this one's for you. What are some of the strengths that Vonage brings to this type of opportunity?
Well, I'll start with this. I mean, the deal didn't even start off as a, quote unquote, contact center solution. It really started off bare bones, unified communication as a service solution. And then, upon Vonage's, subject matter expert team coming in and having a deeper conversation about the pain points that the customer was having and what they were really looking to do from a business outcome standpoint, we realized that contact center was really the solution that they wanted, and especially with that integration within the Salesforce, right? So, that was a huge differentiator. A lot of people say same window plane, if you will, and I can't emphasize how important that is. For a user that's using the tool to go in and not have to use a new tool that they're, and use the same tool that they're accustomed to using within Salesforce, right? That's huge. You increase your buy-in rapidly. The return on investment is huge, and the user experience is paramount, right? And that snowballs down to the customer experience that they deliver then for their end users.
Outstanding. John Romeo, you'll get the last word in this segment. Anything you want to add on to that?
The only thing I can add is please engage me and my team. Every opportunity is different. It's not about feature functionality. It's about end business outcomes, period.
That's it. Partnership, collaboration, business continuity. In other words, you guys, the big win. Marco and John, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. You guys take care. Aqeel, I'd like you to hang on tight while we take a look at the world's most flexible cloud communications platform for business ever.
Communication used to be pretty straightforward. Phone, call, phone. Not anymore. Now, business communication is voice, SMS, chat, chatbots, CRM, real-time, on-the-go, mobile, multi-channel, social media, video, blah, blah. Okay, you get it. It's a lot. That's why your business needs a flexible cloud communications platform. Like, extremely flexible. One with, say, an entire suite of cloud-based capabilities, unified communications, contact centers, and communications APIs. So, basically us. Not to toot our own horn, but we help developers and businesses help their customers and employees all the time. Sometimes with just a couple of lines of code. Take Mitch here. He's on a beautiful mountain, but he wants some shoes. Why? Doesn't matter. What shoes? Who cares? But we connect him anyway with his colleague Sarah, so she can collaborate with him and help find the perfect pair. They can share shoe spreadsheets, chat about shoes, and have shoe-related video calls. all thanks to Vonage's Unified Communications Solution. It's kind of a mouthful, but as long as it helps Mitch get the perfect pair, he doesn't really care what it's called. And then there's Jess. When she's not out mountaineering, skiing, or riding her motorcycle, we help call center reps like her make grumpy grumps like Frank happy. Because with fully integrated CRM, Jess has all the interaction data she needs to make the conversation more personal and productive. That way Frank's call to Jess can be his only call. And then there's Tom, or as his friends call him, Big T. Big T doesn't know it, and nor does he care. But the app that helps him find a car and call his driver was built by developers using our API. He also doesn't care that the developers of his banking app use our API to connect him to a customer service rep. And when Big T's stressed about his cheeseburger intake, he really couldn't care less that the app he uses to have a video consultation with his doctor was built by a developer using our API. So, whether you're a mom and pop or a multinational, we can help you scale seamlessly and securely. And no matter what comes up, at least communication-wise, you'll always be just one call away from getting back on your way. Vonage, the world's most flexible cloud communications platform. For business. Ever.
Now, our next guest needs little to no introduction, but the teleprompter tells me otherwise. Aqeel Shahid, Vice President, Global Strategic Partners with Vonage. Aqeel, welcome again to UCaaS Connection.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, Vonage is obviously a well-recognized communications brand. Tell us about what you guys are doing in the UCaaS space.
Yeah, great question. I mean, obviously, everyone is well familiar with the Vonage brand. We've been around for decades, right? A household name. Obviously, started off in the early 2000s, providing, voice over IP solutions to the consumer world. Obviously, over the last 10 plus years, we've made a pivot away from the residential world, now focused primarily on the mid to enterprise segment and providing a full stack unified communication solution for businesses. So the big thing you'll see in the UCaaS space specifically is really providing a user experience for customers that they can leverage the entire stack of products that Vonage provides, whether it's unified communications, contact centers, APIs, and doing so in a manner where it's easy to use and they can access that technology from any device anywhere.
Now, Vonage does have a full-featured technology stack. Can you break down and give us a brief rundown of some of those key components?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you've heard some of the discussion that we had earlier with Marco and team, right? So, again, like I said, unified communication is our core bread and butter. We've been providing that for 20 plus years. But, we now have our own contact center solution that is a fully featured contact center solution that provides omni-channel functionality. And again, if you're leveraging Salesforce or if customers leveraging ServiceNow, right, this is a perfect solution for them because, again, it's an embedded solution. So it allows them to get a fully unified experience. And then we have our own API platform, right, that really allows for customization. So when you think of Vonage, it isn't just a solution that just a solution for either unified communications or contact center, right? It really is a platform that allows for customers to take advantage of. So they can consume stuff directly off the shelf that's all pre-built, ready for them to consume, or they can go customize this for their own environments, for their own challenges that they're trying to solve.
All of that sounds great. Let me ask you this. How is Vonage prepared for global distribution in a world that keeps getting smaller?
Yeah, great question, obviously, right? I mean, and more now than ever before, right? We see, the requirement for technology that can expand not only domestically, but also internationally. So Vonage has made a significant amount of investment in our global footprint, right? In fact, some of the organizations that Vonage acquired and brought into the overall portfolio of its products were international companies based out in Europe, based out in Asia Pac. So it really allows us to now have a distribution channel globally to where we can provide services for our customers all around the world, right? So from a user experience perspective, they don't have to have a different platform in North America, a different platform in Europe, a different platform in Asia Pac. They have a centralized platform that allows them to collaborate, communicate, and interact with one another without having to have disparate systems to deal with.
Aqeel, let me ask you this. Where are you seeing the most innovation happening to support the massive work from home movement?
Yeah, and again, given these unprecedented times, the pandemic that we're obviously all dealing with, right? We've seen a huge increase in innovation happening, right? Obviously, work from home becoming a key requirement, right? So our technology has always been ready for providing work from home options for users, and so they can again leverage the investment that they've made, either using a soft phone client on their computers or on their smartphone devices or tablet devices. But beyond that, where we're seeing a huge amount of innovation happening is in the video front. In fact, we've seen almost a 2,000% increase in video communications. Again, folks that cannot see each other, obviously now they're leveraging video to collaborate with one another. Their employees are using that to interact with each other, and customers obviously are using that to interact with their suppliers. But then even organizations like healthcare workers are now leveraging video as a means to now provide telehealth services, right? So a doctor can now use the video platform that we provide to interact with patients securely and be able to provide the services that that patient is looking for without having to come into the office. So we're seeing a huge amount of innovation on that front.
Now, I want to get into the weeds here just a little bit because Vonage is one of the few service providers with full API capabilities. So can you tell us the difference between an API platform and application APIs, and specifically, how does Vonage differentiate between the two?
Yeah, great question, right? Again, when you think of APIs, it's such a loosely used term out there, right? And unfortunately, not all APIs are built alike, right? You have APIs that allow for applications to interact with one another, meaning I have my own proprietary application and I wanted to interact with another application. That's where the API comes in to allow for these two applications to interact. But when you look at an API platform, which is what Vonage provides, it really think of them as Lego blocks, right? You have multiple different Lego blocks available to go create your own unique solution, right? So you can now leverage those Lego blocks to go solve the business case that you're trying to solve for, or the issue you're trying to solve for, or go create your own custom application, right? And you can embed now the API technology within those applications that you're leveraging on a day-to-day basis. Again, very different compared to getting two applications to talk to another. You're just literally building this thing from scratch.
That was a great answer. Let's switch gears a little bit here. Artificial intelligence is a hot topic, and Vonage recently added this capability into its own technology stack. Where does this fit in? Well, folks, we're going to find out right after this.
People think unified communications are boring, but with Vonage you can chat with Deborah, conference call, share a doc, call the boss. Yeah, basically all that in one platform.
And we're back with Aqeel Shahid, Vice President of Global Strategic Partners at Vonage, and we are talking artificial intelligence. Aqeel, how does AI fit into the Vonage technology stack?
Yeah, AI actually is such an important aspect of our daily lives, right? I mean, it's been around for some time. The adoption was a little slower, but now it's become mainstream, right? It's all around us. We're surrounded by it, right? And so we obviously at Vonage saw the writing on the wall. In fact, we made such a big investment on the AI portion ourselves through, organic growth that we did through our API platform. But then also, as of last year, we made an acquisition of an AI organization that now is part of the overall technology stack that's provided by Vonage, right? So now we can really leverage AI for different elements, right? So when you look at AI and you break it up into different categories, right? You have natural language processing, right? And what natural language processing really is, where the computer or the technology really is programmed to not only identify written and spoken words, but it's also understanding the context of how things are being said, right? Look at, for example, Siri and Alexa as great examples of AI technologies that we use on a day-to-day basis, right? And again, it understands the context of what you're saying by leveraging the natural language that you're used to, right? So when you ask it something, and the system recognizes exactly what you're trying to accomplish, as opposed to just saying a specific word. The other component we're seeing a lot of is machine learning, right? This is, again, where the system actually understands and learns. It looks at past data, and it makes better decisions based on the data that it's fed, right? Again, and it can compile this data very quickly, very rapidly, right? More faster than any human can do. And then the other big component is predictive analytics, right? So you're taking all this data that exists in the systems now and make some intelligent business decisions based on that. So it allows you to predict what is it that the consumer is going to do next. And prime example, again, of that is, you're out surfing the web and you're searching for a specific product. Next thing you know, you start seeing all these ads start pop up. You start seeing suggestions start showing up on Amazon, right? This is where it's predicting based on your trends exactly what is it that you may be looking for, or what is it that you may be looking to go out and purchase.
Well, you kind of jumped right onto the next question there, so let's get into that and take it down to the end user level. How are you seeing organizations use AI to improve their customer experience?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways in how they can do it. And again, just for the purposes of the show today, we'll kind of focus it on a couple of components, right? Let's look at machine learning, for example, right? That's a big component today that a lot of contact centers can leverage, right? And again, what it does is, and in most contact centers, there's a couple of key thresholds that they look for, which is basically average hold time. How long does a person sit on hold before they get an agent? And then also, how do they reduce the amount of time that the agent is on the phone call, right? By now leveraging machine learning, the system can actually provide assistance to the actual agent taking the call. So now they know, okay, what is this customer calling about, right? Are they, and you have their record pulled up on the screen with all the pertinent details. Provide the caller now with some self-service options, right, where they can interact with a bot, right, where they're having a full-blown conversation with the system about simple stuff like, hey, I'm checking about the status of an order, or I'm calling about changing an order, or changing my shipment, or password reset. Simple stuff that would normally take a full agent's time now can all be done leveraging AI technology, where it's basically doing those basic stuff. Now, obviously, you want to have the technology to have the ability to still escalate it to a agent at some point. And then when it does get sent to the agent, the system is still listening in, right? You still have the AI technology listening into the conversation. And now based on that discussion that you're having with the end user, it learns. So next time around, the same type of questions come up, same type of scenario comes up, the system has already learned from how the agent responded to the actual situation. And so now it can provide the same level of response back. So again, what it's doing is, again, reducing the overall time, improving that customer experience, and really providing analytics for the agents so that they can be better and smarter at supporting their customers.
Well, let's get over the horizon just a little bit, Aqeel, and I'm going to ask you this. What challenges do you see, and what recommendations can you make for organizations looking to leverage AI in their environments?
Yeah, I think the big thing that I recommend for organizations, again, the challenge a lot of people have with AI is it's only as good as what you train it to do, right? It's only as good as the data you provide. So a lot of organizations that have a very siloed approach in how they leverage the technologies don't really have a single source of truth. They don't really have a system that has all the data for the AI technology to learn. So, my recommendation is, if you are looking to use a AI solution within your environment, one, centralize, on a single source of truth within your environment. Second, make sure the data that you're putting in is accurate. You don't want to have data that is not accurate, because you put garbage and you're going to get garbage out. So that's the big component that I recommend that organizations should absolutely be looking at.
This has been great information, Aqeel. Now, before we let you go, I want to ask perhaps the most important question of all, and that's the one that apparently no other news organization has the guts to ask. Ready? With AI on the rise. Yep. With AI on the rise, should we be preparing for the eventual robot takeover, and what is Vonage doing to protect us all?
Great question, right? So yes, the AI on the rise is not necessarily giving birth to Skynet or what you see on Hollywood movies, right? With the Terminators and all the stuff do. No, that's not the case. Really, what AI is here to do is really help augment, support, and allow for users to be more efficient. So, there's still a lot of training to be done, still a lot of evolution to be done in this space. And again, certainly we're here as subject matter experts to help organizations looking to implement it. So we're far from being in a situation where the robots are going to take over the world.
Well, that is great news. I, for one, will sleep absolutely better at night knowing that your team at Vonage is leading the way. Aqeel Shahid, thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us at UCaaS Connection. You take care, sir.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Folks, we say it every week, and we really mean it. This is your show. These are your stories. Nancy, tell them why we're here and how they can get here too.
If you would like to be a featured guest on UCaaS Connection, let us know. We are here to help you tell your story. Visit us at ucasbeat.com or through our UCaaS Connection social media pages. You can request an interview, submit stories, updates, big wins, or anything else that's newsworthy by emailing us at featureus@ucasbeat.com. These are your stories, and this is your show.
Before we wrap up this week, we do want to take a moment to acknowledge that yesterday was Memorial Day, and to pay our respects, give thanks, and honor to those who sacrificed everything for so many.
Some time back, I received, in the name of our country, the bodies of 4 Marines who had died while on active duty. I said then that there is a special sadness that accompanies the death of a serviceman, for we're never quite good enough to them. Not really, we can't be, because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. And so when a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us.
We'd like to say a big thank you to Marco Sanchez and John Romeo from TBI, and to Aqeel Shahid and the team at Vonage. You guys are most definitely rock stars. Next week, she's back. Hope Davo returns with a very special guest, Anurag Agrawal, founder and chief global analyst for Tech Isle. Anurag, frequently referred to as SMB Guru, and one of the top 10 analysts to follow in SMB mid-market and channel partner segments, is going to join us to discuss, well, given his expertise and influence, we're going to let him talk about whatever the hell he wants to, and you do not want to miss that. So until then, my friends, be safe, keep your distance, but always, no matter what, stay connected.